Welcome back to Big Loz Official, guys. Yesterday we put out a video on our thoughts about the World Ultimate Strongman Bahrain. Today we're focusing on the actual competition, how all the athletes did, and also see who was closest out of me and Liz on our predictions. Firstly, from talking to all the athletes that were there, us that were behind the scenes, every single athlete had a great time out there.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed the competition. Some amazing performances. Firstly, I've got to kind of put it out there. Alexei Novikov. Wow. Just unbelievable. The guy, people have said he was lucky to win World's Strongest Man, or it's because it was a fitness event, or certain athletes weren't there. There's been a lot of things said. This guy is just getting better and better. And I mean, I predicted that he'd be there fighting till the win, but his dominant performance.
Yeah, I don't think any of us expected that. I think we thought it would be much closer.
Absolutely dominated it, start to finish. I think the worst he placed on event was third.
It was. And when you've got 15 athletes,
15
that's
great
worth
athletes.
So many points as well, isn't it? So, he really smashed that one.
It was very, very impressive. So we're going to start off with the deadlift, guys. 300 kilos all the way up to 440, 5 lifts in total on an axle bar. This was an event that got a lot of criticism with things that went wrong. We've addressed that in a different video. We want to focus on the performances today. And kicking it off, well, I was impressed with how many guys managed to pull the 440.
Yeah, I was too.
I think it was about 7 of the guys.
Yeah, it was 7 athletes.
Ramin Farjanad, Adam Bishop, JF Karan, Konstantin Janasha, Alexei Novikov, Rauno Heinle, and the surprise winner of this event, and maybe not a surprise to himself, talking to him afterwards, but I mean, even him.
To us who didn't really know better.
Well, Bobby's a great deadlifter, but to beat the likes of Rauno and JF Karan and even Janasha, you know, that's a big scalp. So awesome performance starting out for Bobby. Put him in a great position for the whole show. Rauno Heinle, you always expected performances from Rauno on a deadlift. This was always going to be a good event for him.
Yeah.
And then Alexei Novikov sneaking into third place. He was extremely happy after this. You saw him walking away doing a little dance.
Yeah.
You could tell how happy he was to get a great start, because he knew there was a lot of good deadlifters there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the likes of Adam Bishop, JF, Konstantin, all these guys are huge deadlifters.
Both Iranian athletes as well.
Both Iranian athletes. Ramin Farjanad was, bursting at the seams with the blood coming everywhere. But yeah,
quite the scene.
Both Iranians really impressed me in this show.
Yeah, me too.
They're not as well known, but I've been to Iran, and it's quite kind of funny. I went to Iran a number of years ago, and some of the local athletes were like, "Oh, we'd love to come to England and train with you guys." I was like, "Why?" They had an institute of sport for strongman.
Yeah.
You know, their government put a lot of money into the strength sports over there, and they were like, "Oh, we want to come to England and train with you." I said, "I train in a little shed."
Yeah, they've got some incredible athletes coming out of there as well, haven't they? Especially in strength sports.
Yeah, and the strongman, performances are getting better and better. Obviously, you've got a Payman who's chasing the deadlift world record at the moment, but these two guys, really, really strong.
Yeah.
And not just in one thing, they could move well. They had strong grips. They were impressive.
All round, they were really consistent.
A little bit more experience at the top level. We're going to see these guys hitting podiums for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, first event, Bobby Thompson taking first place, second place Rauno Heinle, and third place was Alexei Novikov. They were well ahead of everyone else in terms of times. The times between the three of them, very, very close.
Yes.
So event number 2 was the mystery event. It was the flag hoist. If you go and watch some of our old videos, Liz managed to predict it right.
Yeah, we were trying
I think
to
you're
guess,
getting some inside knowledge.
I'm not. No one tells me anything. I honestly, but I don't know. I just get. It's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see some sort of vertical lift. I wanted to see some sort of classic strongman.
So it was an arm over arm vertical flag hoist lift.
Different.
There is a flag hoist event that Glenn Ross runs in his shows, which is like a reverse finger. They have to grab at the bottom and pull it up. So this is a different event from that. It's an arm over arm, pulling the weight up till it goes past a certain marker, and they had to do it for reps. I tested it out beforehand. It was a cool event. The guys enjoyed it. A little bit different. I think it needs a little bit of tinkering with to get perfect.
Yeah,
but
maybe
it was
just
cool.
the setup.
Yeah, it was just cool to see a different challenge. And it was interesting watching the guys beforehand, seeing how they were what kind of tactics they were going to use. There was different tactics being talked about, and that's the interesting thing when no one's been able to train for an event.
Yeah,
you've got to work it out there and then. You saw like Alexei Novikov jumping up high, grabbing as high as he could, and using his whole weight to pull down. Other guys were trying to focus more on a bicep-y kind of control pull. The winner of this event, Luke Stoltman.
Yeah.
He put in a great performance.
He did it in style as
he
well.
had such power in his arms.
Yeah.
And then he wore gloves so that he could release the rope and like kind of let it slide through. Now, if you saw his gloves at the end, they were ruined. They weren't even his gloves. They were Adam Bishop's gloves. And Adam hadn't even been yet. So Adam had to borrow some gloves from someone else. But Luke ruined Adam's gloves, but it was worth it for him because he won the event.
Maybe less so for Adam.
Yeah.
Ruined his lucky gloves.
And second place on this event was Ramin Farjanad, the Iranian, and then Alexei, showing that consistency. Third place on the arm over arm. The one guy I thought would do a lot better on this, and I think probably most of us did, was Tom Stoltman. Tom, in my opinion, perfectly built for this event. I just think he went with the wrong tactics. He tried to do
Tom went for the sort of static, stay down, which didn't really suit where his strengths lie.
No,
and
you
also
think
the fact that he could have used his
how
body
tall
weight
he
and
is.
his
I think that height, but I
Yeah.
think that's the challenge of not being able to train on an event. It's easy to sit here afterwards and say, I looked at it as an athlete, thought, how would I do this?
Yeah.
And you don't know what's the best way to approach it. So,
but it's the beauty of strongman, isn't it? And it's something that I feel the sport has lost in recent years. That kind of unknown element and the how am I going to do this, because it has become a little bit more predictable and standardised. So
I guess, yeah.
I love it.
Do you know what? The athletes really enjoyed it as well.
They did.
Loads of them were really positive about it. I'm sure if, who came last? Rauno Heinler.
He hated it. It's
Rauno had just had stitches in his hands.
Yeah,
so anything grabbing onto a rope and grip related was going to be horrible.
Yeah.
But most of the guys were all pretty close.
Yeah.
And you could really see the fatigue kick in after a couple of reps. I mean, myself, Zadrunas and Terry were messing around with it beforehand. Doing 1 rep's not that bad. But start doing 2 and 3 and those arms.
Speed as well.
Yeah, your hands start to ache, your forearms pump up. It's a very painful event. And it's interesting just watching the different tactics that were used. So the next event was the dumbbell press. 100 kilos for reps from the floor. So they had to bring the dumbbell down, up to the shoulder with 2 hands and then 1-handed press overhead. I think it's fair to say that the best 2 guys in the world at this event right now are Alexei Novikov and Mateusz Kieliszkowski. Unfortunately, Kieliszkowski's still injured, not coming back to competition yet. We wish him well with his recovery. But without him being there, this was always going to be Alexei's event.
He was always going to be very difficult to beat.
He's so explosive and well trained on it. You watch him and he just makes it look easy.
Really efficient, very good.
Very, very great technique. Really uses his whole body. He's such a great athlete, and that's what impresses me with him. He's not like your big bench presser or huge squatter. He's just a great strength athlete.
Yeah.
And he knows how to use his whole body to get the maximum performance out of himself.
We were saying, drawing comparisons, he reminds us very much of kind of a Marius, maybe a mix between a Marius and someone like Yuko Ahala, who was really smart at figuring things out. Magnus Vera as well.
Yeah.
Never the biggest guys.
Those great guys that just figured out a way to win.
Yeah.
They've competed against some of the strongest men on the planet and beaten them because they could just figure out the best way. And that's what's exciting with strongman. It's not just about one lift. Bobby Thompson coming in 4th then. JF Caron's pressing's getting better. Solid performance there, 3rd place on the dumbbell. And Schmuck Stellis, Ivers, he was impressive in this show.
What did he get? He got 8 reps.
Yeah, 8 reps, 2nd place. That's a hell of a performance for Ivers. Unfortunately, see Janasha was last on this event, and this is the event that he injured himself on at World's Strongest Man a few years ago.
Yeah.
And if I'm honest, it looks like it's really affecting him. And I understand that coming back from competition to try an event, and it is hard. That mental side, it's always at the back of your mind.
Scary. It's hard to push that hard.
I don't know how he's going to get past it.
No.
He looks almost terrified to do this type of event. And that mental scarring is difficult. I really hope he can get past
so
it
than the
because
physical.
He's such a great strongman.
Yeah.
Beforehand, I was predicting top 3 for him, but
Jinxed
he didn't
him,
look
didn't
weak. He didn't look weak at all. His deadlift was solid. He just looks like there's certain events that he's worried about, and that holds him back. That
he
10%.
wasn't going all out. Yeah.
Yeah.
We should probably address because there's been a lot of comments about Tom Stoltman's dumbbell as well. So he lifted it 3 or 4 times, but he wasn't given any reps by Zadrunas, who was refereeing him. Again, I was stood right there, and it was. I mean, I'm no referee. I spoke to Terry actually afterwards, and he said like the agreement was it had to be held completely under control and still for 1 second before they got the down signal. And, you know, I found that out afterwards. Thinking back, maybe Tom didn't. It was sort of, it was up and then it was down.
He was powerful off the shoulder, but his lockout he wasn't holding it fixed overhead. And that's not a strength issue with Tom. I think maybe just a training thing. He needs to make sure he's holding those lockouts in training. Tom's pressing's improved so much. We saw that at World's Strongest Man where he won the log in the final.
Yeah.
So I'm convinced a little bit of work on just balance more than anything. You know, we forget how tall he is. Maybe it's hard to balance a dumbbell up there.
High. And it was windy too.
I think you spoke to Tom and you kind of asked him what was up, and he said he just wasn't having a great day. You know, it's funny when you get really good, people are always kind of critical because
they're hypercritical.
You know, the better you are, the more pressure there is on you to always perform. And then if you have like a slight off day, people are on you like
people can be so harsh as well.
I'm pretty sure he'll bounce back very quickly, and the next comp he'll be on the podium again.
I'm sure. We've seen it from him before.
Yep. And talking of bouncing back, the next event was the loading, and Tom really started to perform here. Here's where he sort of climbed up the table. Very, very good performance, taking second place. Alexei Novikov, very, very smart on this event.
Yeah.
He kind of figured out all the implements. He figured out how he was going to put them onto the platform. He took first place in a time of 39 seconds, beating Tom by 2 seconds.
So just to explain the implements, first off, it was a 100 kilo tyre and they carried it down, and then it was almost like parking your bike. So there was like a slot, I guess, and they just sort of secured it in and went again. Then it was a 120 kilo Atlas stone.
120 kilo Atlas stone with no tacky.
Yes, that had to go up onto the platform. And then finally it was the WUS shield, which is 100.
It's about 145. It's not, I mean, it's heavy. It's not the heaviest shield I've ever seen, but it's heavy. But it's extremely wide and awkward.
Yeah.
And you could see the guys struggling with that. And you could see the different tactics being kind of implemented.
Some guys getting a really high pickup and almost up on the shoulder so they could just dump it on. Flipping it on, and it was,
Some people trying to use the tyre to flip it on. There was all sorts. But it's events like that are always interesting because they do throw curveballs in.
Yeah.
You know, JF was going real quickly and he just kind of went to dip it on and he just missed it, fell on the floor. You know, that would have cost him a few points. The same for a couple of other guys.
Bobby Thompson, bless him. I think he had problems on the Atlas stone, didn't he, with his fingers, and that cost him a lot of points overall.
But the Iranian Mohamed Estapor, he really manhandled these implements. Looked very, very good, coming in third place. And Ivers, again, with another solid performance, fourth place. Just behind Ivers was Luke Stoltman. So Luke was very, very steady in this show.
Luke was really consistent as well.
Won the arm over arm, hoist pull.
The worst event for Luke was the deadlift.
But that was always going to be the case.
Yeah, exactly.
He knew that. I was impressed with Luke's performance, to be honest.
Yeah, I was too.
You know,
never underestimate Luke Stoltman.
Well, it's funny with both of them. I mean, Luke, World's Strongest Man, really disappointed. You know, he was disappointed in himself. Comp before that, he's really good. This comp, he's done really good. He's sort of just up and down. But that, honestly, and this is what I kind of say before every show, you could put 5 different events, the whole board can change again.
Yeah, of course.
You know, it's so hard to predict.
I really loved this group of athletes though, because it's a group that we haven't seen all of these guys up against each other before, and I just find that really exciting.
It was just a lovely group of guys.
Yeah, really nice
great
group
athletes.
of people too.
And I say it before every single show, events are so important.
Of course.
And you can put 5 different events in and the scores will change every single time.
Do you know what's really impressive about Alexei right now, though, is that
he's got to that level now where he is like the Thors, the Zadrinuses, the Brian Shaws.
You can throw almost anything at him and he's coping well. Like, he did not have a bad event.
He's gone from being a good strongman to being one of the greats now.
Yeah.
If he can keep performing like this with that consistency. I'm not saying he's not beatable.
No.
Because everyone's beatable, like I said, with the right events. But I can't see Alexei placing low at a competition.
No, I can't either.
His attitude, the way he approaches it all. He's got that like Marius attitude of like, I belong at the top.
He's got that confidence now, hasn't he? Like, you look back at his career. Again, we did a video about that. Find that. But you look back at his career. He's had some big wins at
already
different Arnold shows and.
But he was in that group of guys that. In one competition, he could be really good. In the next competition, not so good. He's elevated himself now to being
Consistently,
you know,
very
I'm
good.
I'm excited to see the return of Kilishkovsky and those guys battling out. I think if they're both fit, that's the battle at the moment.
It's what we need.
There's guys that can go into that,
Yeah.
but those two are
Yeah.
right now, I would say, the top two in the world. Well, if Kilishkovsky can get fit.
Wow. Yeah.
Moving on to the Atlas Stones, 10 Atlas Stones, starting with 100 kilos, then it went to 120, and then it was 10 kilo jumps, all the way up to 200 kilos. That is a tough set of stones.
Yeah, that is.
For years, we just did 5 stones, and then they brought in this 10 stone run, and we've seen like 8 at
Especially with the pace
World's
of this
Strongest Man.
competition as well. Like, you know, to get a 200 kilo stone having already lifted 9 stones is pretty incredible, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, it shows how good a stone lifter Tom is. I mean, we were kind of saying that Tom's time was slower than the last time he did this, but the last time he didn't have to do the arm over arm pull, and then the kind of medley with the shield. They're events that drain your biceps. If your biceps start to go and your squeezing power is going, you're not going to wrap around that stone as easily. It's going to be harder, and that's another factor when you're at a competition. The events beforehand can all have a knock-on effect to the events coming up. So it didn't surprise me that times were a little bit slower.
No, it didn't mean
I think this time we only had 3 guys do all the stones. Alexei Novikov, very, very steady performance. He didn't need to do that well on this. He was already so far ahead.
Yeah.
But you could tell straight away he wasn't there to mess around.
No.
He was looking at the last stone. He was putting his hands around it, trying to get some tacky on it. A couple of people said, "Oh, that's cheating." I can promise you, it's not. It's in the rules. Every strongman I've seen do that. You know, it's quite a common thing for the athletes to go up to the last stone and just make sure that the tacky is where they want it to be.
Because they're going to have worn out or used up a lot of their tacky by then, and that's the one they're really going to need it for.
The stone they really want it on these is those bigger ones.
They're suddenly bold.
Yeah, that's why you often see guys go with tacky on the back of their hand, because as they go through the stones, the tacky is coming off.
Yeah.
So they just want to make sure they've got something left for those bigger stones. But 10 stones is tough. You're going to be fatigued by that point.
Yeah. I was really impressed with JF because he's not known as... I mean, I guess JF's not really known for the best anything except maybe deadlift, but he's just so consistently good, isn't he?
He's always good at, like, most events.
Yeah.
There's no, like, big gaping weakness with JF now. He's good at stones. He's just not in that Tom Stoltman level of stones. So
not many people are.
No, exactly. But you can always expect a solid performance from JF.
Ivor Schmuxless as well on the stones. He took a little tumble on the 10th stone. I tell you what, if he'd got that 10th stone, he would have won the event.
He would have.
He was flying. He was so quick. I was so impressed.
Yeah.
But it was a bit of a shame for him. But you know,
he was going at some pace, really quick. And then just going for the 10th stone, he just fell backwards.
Yeah, but thankfully didn't hurt himself.
You know, 4th place on the stones there, with guys like Bish and Luke Stoltman, who are great stone lifters behind him. He put in a performance.
Yeah, he really did. He did great. It was great to see.
Well, the worst anyone did on the stones was 7 stones.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah. When you think a normal stone run is 5... it was impressive, like after the pace of the competition, how tired they must have been feeling at that point. When you stand at one end of that stone run and look down it, man, it looks like a lot of work, doesn't it?
It's quite intimidating.
When the few times I've been to the gym and I'm with you and I think about what lies ahead of me and you can visually see it, it's a little bit like,
well, for any of you guys that train,
that's why I'm not an athlete.
You know, 1 rep is much easier than 10.
Yes.
You get to start getting to 10 reps. It doesn't matter what the weight is. It gets hard.
It's getting hard. Yeah.
So
definitely.
to do 10 reps and you're ending with 200 kilos, that's tough, especially for a strong man. So really good performances by the guys. It was a fun competition, fast paced. Everyone enjoyed it. No one got hurt, which is always nice at a big strongman show.
People were asking about Mikhail Shivlikov getting hurt because they saw him in an ambulance. He got hurt by, I think it was Alexei's mace trophy after the competition. I don't know why we're laughing. Because they were all messing about, weren't they, with their maces. And Novikov got hurt too, didn't he?
I think so.
But no injuries in the competition. So that's
the competition was good. No injuries there. So 15th place was Shivlikov with 18 points. He's going to be disappointed with that. That's not what he was coming there for.
No, of course not.
You had him... No, you didn't have him in your top 3, did you?
God, no. But I probably cursed him by even mentioning him. So.
Yeah. Konstantin Janasha, back from injury, 14th place. I had him in my top 3. You let me down, man.
I don't say that. Poor
No, I'm
Janash.
joking. I think for both Janasha and Rob Kearney, the fact that it's their first competition back, it's a confidence builder. Rob, I think, is going to go on and be absolutely fine. Janasha, I hope he can get that mental side sorted, because he's got all the potential in the world. He's got so much power. I understand what it's like coming back from an injury, but you do have to be able to just block it out.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's coming back quickly. You know,
No,
it's been almost 2 years since he's competed at that kind of level. So hopefully he'll be fine. He can get himself back into top shape. Irvin Toots, quiet performance from Irvin this week. It wasn't, you know, we've seen Europe's Strongest Man last year. He was really, really good.
He was injured at World's Strongest Man. It's not been that long since Worlds, has it? So
but there was no real standout performances from him. He's just,
but also no terrible performances.
No, not at all. There was no terrible performances by anyone.
Well, no,
you know?
I guess not.
You're harsh.
I know. What am I saying?
That's why I don't compete anymore.
God, what's
Liz would bully me. Adam Bishop coming in 10th. Then we got Ethel.
Ingolson?
Yeah, Ethel Ingolson.
Impressive.
He was very good. A lot of people kind of expected him to come last.
Yeah.
And he was very, very solid performance.
He was great.
His deadlift is a little bit lower than maybe some of the guys. Other than that, he put in a solid performance all round. Really impressed with the improvements that he's made in the last year. Bobby Thompson really impressed me. Just such a... First time meeting Bobby. I've seen him compete, obviously, a few times, but first time to meet him, absolutely lovely guy.
Really lovely.
Brought his dad out with him.
So sweet.
Yeah.
Just really, really lovely people. And Bobby was flying. It was the last two events that really cost him. He came last on the loading race, and he already said Atlas stones are a little bit of a weakness for him. But if he can bring that up, he's a great competitor.
Honestly, I think we'll see big things from Bobby in the next couple of years. Then we had Tom Stoltman. He really kind of shot up the table those last two events, taking second and first in the last two. Shows his potential, you know. It was a bad day, and he's still come top few in this. Joint fifth.
It was
in this
joint
show.
fifth, wasn't it?
So there's three of them joint fifth. It was Tom Stoltman, Ramin Farjanad, and Mohamed Estapor, two Iranians. Very, very impressive. First big show. Well, Ramin has been there before. Let's remember, Ramin is coming back from being shot.
I know, yeah.
He was like on a deathbed almost.
Yeah, he was. There was a burglary, and he was shot in the chest. In the stomach. Yeah. We saw his scar, didn't we? It was awful.
Nasty scar that he's got on him. And to come back from that, just to be competing, is immense. Never mind the performance that he put in. So, all the respect to the two Iranian guys. Luke Stoltman taking 4th place. Another great performance from Luke. And then Ivers Schmuckstellis, 3rd place. That was, probably... I guess you have to give the standout performance to Alexei, but Ivers really impressed me.
Yeah, he did me too.
He's just...
such a likeable person.
He's really likeable.
And I know that shouldn't really come into it, but for me it does. I want to see these nice
You're like a mum watching you. You're like Auntie Liz watching. I'm proud of
all my nieces and nephews.
No nieces there.
No. The strongman white. No, otherwise I'm really aging myself.
But yeah, it's great to see him. JF Karan, another solid performance, proving that he's one of the best consistently in the world right now.
And I'm glad we didn't jinx him.
Yeah. And obviously Alexei Novikov taking the win. And Lizzie, who did I say would win?
You said Alexei would win.
We were pretty terrible at the predictions for this show.
We were. I feel like we actually cursed a few of the guys.
I only got one podium position right, and you didn't get any.
I just got one person within the top 3 correct.
Do you know what that means?
Bad things. Bad things are going to happen to me.
Bad things are going to happen to you.
I must earn some credit from guessing the mystery event correctly. You poo-pooed my idea. You were like, I don't know about that. So,
we didn't make any bets.
You were like, oh, well, I know what equipment we'll have. So
look at her getting cocky. She's getting cocky now. She won't be cocky when we make her go in the ice bath.
Oh, man. Do you know what, though? We're in isolation. It's probably about all we can do, bar shaving me.
We're not going to shave you.
No, because we both lose there, don't we? But
so we'll get you in the ice bath.
Oh, man,
she's going to hate that so much.
Being cold. I hate being chilly, let alone bloody freezing. Oh, my God, it's going to be awful. And I ate too much while we were away. It's going to be bad.
Right, guys, I hope you enjoyed our review of the World Ultimate Strongman Bahrain. If you haven't seen it already, make sure you go and check out the whole competition on Rogue Sports. And we'll be back with some more Strongman action soon. While you're here, guys, subscribe to the channel, Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome strength content.